Welcome back. So I'm here with Sam Farmer, who has created the Sam Farmer brand after realising that there was a need for something that was, a little bit different in young people's grooming care, and went on to study cosmetic science. You put yourself back through school to learn about this. And what we wanted to do today is to really talk a little bit about some of the myths around ingredients, and a lot of it is fueled by the media. And we get, I know when I was in the retail world, we used to get customers coming in clutching, a newspaper that they picked up on the way to work that told them that, something that was in their shampoo wasn't good for them, and all of these kind of things. So we are going to start with aluminium.
Yes.
So let's talk about aluminium.
Before we talk about aluminium, it's I think that a lot of people are willing to believe that there's bad things in cosmetics, because sometimes the industry itself, as I previously said, doesn't do itself any favours by trying to not explain ingredients and come up with make-believe phrases, and it's very complicated. This is very complicated stuff. They are complex chemical formulations, and people dedicate their entire professional careers to understanding how to create these products. And it's not something that can be explained quickly or briefly. It takes a lot of work. So I think that a lot of people who haven't studied chemistry and don't understand formulation, which was certainly me, were ready to believe what I was being told, because I had no knowledge.
Yeah.
And of course, if I didn't know, then I would more easily believe something that I read, because I wanted to know about it.
Yes, absolutely.
And with aluminium, that's exactly the case. We use aluminium in water purification. That's how we purify water a lot. It dissolves in water and then can bind to impurities and sink to the bottom. So the tap water that we drink has traces of aluminium in it, and we metabolise it and have done for years perfectly safely.
And it goes straight through the body.
Yeah, and we deal with it. We use some aluminium chlorohydrate in antiperspirants, because when it mixes with sweat it forms a salt structure, which is a big molecule, and that sits on the top, forms like a plug on the pore, which stops the protein containing sweat from coming out. And that's its purpose. The sweat doesn't build up. It's not like a balloon where the gland can't. We just sweat out of other parts of the body. It's a tiny proportion of the skin, and the molecule is too big to penetrate the skin.
Which is what all the myths say.
Yeah, I had somebody say to me, "Well, you've got lumps of aluminium going into your body." Well, the skin is a barrier.
Yeah, that's why it's there.
A really effective barrier. It may be the thickness of paper, but it's virtually almost impossible to penetrate. That's why with pharmaceuticals we don't deliver transdermally. We ingest. It's very difficult to penetrate all the way through the stratum corneum. That's why, so aluminium, we eat and drink aluminium every day, and the tiny amount that you would put on your skin, the best barrier that we have to outside pollutants, virtually nothing will get through it.
And in essence, it is one of the most effective antiperspirant ingredients.
It is the most effective, and we haven't really got another one.
Okay, good. So going on from aluminium, the next one, and there's been tons of conversation about this in the media, and also I think it's being perpetuated now by brands, and that is parabens. We get asked a lot, is this parabens free? You see it on packaging. I know brands have completely changed their formulas. So where are we with parabens and preservatives?
This is a huge topic.
It's massive, yeah. I'm going to try and keep it quite simple for you.
And as I said, I like talking about what's in my products, not
Absolutely.
What's not in them. Parabens are a group of compounds that are found in fruit and vegetables. It's what they use to essentially sort of preserve themselves, and they are technically the esters of para-hydroxybenzoic acid, which is a natural acid, and that's where you get the para from. And depending on how long the chain is, how many carbons in the chain, will, whether it's methyl paraben or propyl paraben, that's the length of the chain. Short chain paraben esters are scientifically, they are incredibly effective and incredibly safe. I wouldn't formulate for my kids with anything other than short chain paraben esters in my moisturiser, my emulsions. We don't use them in deodorants because deodorants are self-preserving due to the actives. There was something in the press about parabens in deodorants and underarm deodorants. I don't know of any deodorant that contains parabens. This is where the misinformation comes in. If it hasn't got parabens in it, I start to wonder why it hasn't and what are they using instead of parabens to preserve it, because a lot of the things that came in as replacements have since been banned and people are reverting back to short chain paraben esters. We've been using them for over 92 years without any issue, and then everyone starts running away from them. They've created brands based on not having them, so then they can't then go back to using them, which is fine. But for me, I want something that's incredibly safe. Yeah. And because the alternative is a product spoiling, get something like Pseudomonas in there, that gets in your eyes. I need it to be safe and scientifically proven, and I will use ingredients that have been scientifically tested and have a long history of testing. Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember as well, these products are often in the bathroom, you have a variance in temperatures, you might get a little bit of water around the lid. These things are real life. It's not airtight. And like you say, the parabens has been proved, and it's much better to have a stable product than...
You ingest parabens every day in blueberries, in cabbage leaves, and
so it's
putting
a
tiny amount on your skin, which again is the best barrier that we have to pollutants. It doesn't really go all the way in.
So it's parabens is a naturally occurring...
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's where people, and we were saying earlier on, it's the difference between, the word natural, everything actually is a chemical.
Yes, everything is a chemical.
Yeah.
From the air we breathe to the water we drink, everything is chemical. And the word chemical has been sort of taken away from the scientific community and pushed into the marketing world. Yeah. And we should be taking it back because we are producing chemical products. Yeah. And chemical's a great word. Yeah.
I think there's two things that I learned when I went to a talk at the Cosmetic Scientists, and that is that everything has a toxicity. So it's all about the volumes of either what you ingest or what you have in a product. That would make it safe or would make it toxic. And the other thing was the word sort of nasties, and you explained to me...
That's the thing I get asked a lot about.
Does it contain nasties?
Is it safe? Well, I've been through a long journey, and the sort of eminent toxicologists and the regulations and the rules that we have, yes, it's really safe. Is it going to hurt me? No. And thirdly, does it contain any nasties? You've heard me say this before, I don't know what nasties is. Chemistry is very specific, and each chemical has a word and is described in that word. So we can identify its the way it'll behave, and we get an idea of the group it belongs to from its name. And so nasties, it doesn't mean anything.
And you explained that actually, all of these ingredients, the chemistry is black and white. There's no part way about them. They have this action.
Yeah, if you mix one thing with another, you're going to get something else. I mean, it's great. You can play around with chemistry and we can discover new things. But essentially, you can't not be specific with language. Yeah. so I use squalane. There's also squalene. It's just one letter, but it's a different chemical, and has a different structure and behaves in a different way.
But from the same origin.
Well, yes,
yeah,
but it's just got a different properties.
Yeah.
So it is specific, and you can't just generalise in words like nasties, because goblins are nasties.
Yeah. I don't think a little, computer generated like little bug things.
Yeah.
No, and I think going back to that, what we said in the last video about the accessibility of catching up with you and speaking to you and finding out, there are those small variants in language, and obviously if you have any questions you can come through to Sam. The kind of next group, I just want to kind of put in a little bit of a category, which we're going to sort of say emollients, because it's things that might moisturise the skin or whatever, and I think in those three we've got lanolin, which I think was one of the first things that people came to me 25 years ago with all sorts of scare stories. Petroleum and mineral oil.
Yes. So you've got emollients and you've got humectants, and the combination of the two make for good moisturising properties. Humectants can hold on to water, so something like glycerin will attract water and hold it onto the skin. The emollient gives a nice sort of skin feel, and mineral oil is a tried and tested ingredient that I think before the First World War we started combining mineral oil into emulsions and things, and that sits on top of the skin and forms like a sort of a barrier on the top, and it stops what's called transepidermal water loss. So it stops the skin from losing its moisture. It's very effective, but it's a bit greasy, and we need to formulate to make it feel nice. But it is one of the most effective.
So it's not really glamorous, but it does its job.
No, it does its job. There are issues with it. It's from the petroleum industry, so that's going to run out. And there are issues with sustainability, and which I absolutely understand. But purely from a scientific point of view, mineral oil is a very effective emollient.
And I suppose as well, thinking about what I know about ingredients, it's relatively inert. So you're less likely to have an allergy to a mineral oil product rather than maybe a plant oil product.
I think pure mineral oil, I've never known of a reaction to mineral oil from anyone ever. I mean, it is inert, so it's very safe. Lanolin is also a fantastic emollient, but it's slightly thicker, it's slightly harder to apply.
It comes from sheep's wool.
Yeah, exactly, from the fleece. It gets on your fingers. It's
sticky.
It's quite sticky, but it's fantastic. Like for a lip balm, it's brilliant because you don't touch it; you just put it straight on your lips, and it's incredibly effective. So again, another great emollient, really.
And what about petroleum?
Well, petroleum jelly, Vaseline. That is just another fraction of the crude oil distillation.
Yeah.
So mineral oil is just slightly looser than Vaseline, which is sort of a denser material. But we all know how effective Vaseline is on dry skin.
Yeah.
It's cosmetics and the cosmetic science is about making these really effective ingredients feel nice and easy to apply and be effective, and then incorporating all sorts of other elements into it. But basically, mineral oil, petroleum jelly. It's not what we call petroleum jelly anyway. What's the old name for it? Lanolin. They're all very, very effective emollients.
Been around for many, many years.
And they have. But I do understand that they are from crude oil, which is probably the most organic substance on the planet, crude oil. But should we still be using that? Well, there is an argument to say probably not. But the cosmetics industry as a whole is a tiny, tiny fraction of the process of using crude oil. We hardly use virtually nothing compared to making fuel and
So just as a roundup, if you are, what I would say to you from a personal level is, I think if you have questions about ingredients, if you turn on your social media one day or you open your newspaper over breakfast and you see something, I would, look into it a bit further. We'll put a link or a couple of links below the video of some great sites that Sam has recommended that really kind of filter through and give you that truth, because, it's from scientists. But if we're going to sort of sum this up, you would describe your range as, you say you don't talk about what's not in it. How would you describe it?
I'd say that I'm a very straightforward person.
Honest.
And I came to this with an open mind, and I created it for my 2 children, and I wanted it to be the best that I could do. And I used the science. I didn't have a marketing team. I'm not influenced by that. I did it for the kids, for my children. And I will only use what I think is the most appropriate ingredients for them. And I'm not influenced by claims or marketing departments or strategies. I'm influenced by me and the science.
And that, I think, that's the passion, the love behind the brand. You couldn't do anything more than, create it for your kids. And I think if you understand that, then you need to go and look at this brand. So as we said, have a look at Sam Pharma online through Sam's own website, also at Space NK in some of the stores, and also online. Thank you so much, Sam.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I love speaking to people that have a story and somebody that knows why and what they're talking about. So any questions, pop them below the video as usual, and if I can't answer them, then we'll give Sam a call. Thanks guys, bye.
Bye.